Joining me in our Washington studio is Padideh Ala'I, professor of law at American University. Professor, welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
So, not the demise of WTO, but how unusual is this current crisis with the judges and demands by the Trump administration?
So, first of all, thank you for having me. I would say this is unprecedented in the WTO history. WTO only came into existence in 1995, but its predecessors, the GATT, did have a dispute settlement system that was based on consensus, which meant that both parties had to agree to go before a panel. And then if one of them lost, they had to agree that their decision was okay and they could be adopted. So this led to basically stalemate. It was really a diplomatic process. So the United States really led the process of having a rule-based system when this system was created so that parties could not block decisions against them. The WTO appellate body and the mechanism, which is also a panel level, I should just say that the United States objects to the use of the word judge because they feel these are not judges, they're panelists, and they cannot be treated. It's not really a court, but it's really a sort of a dispute settlement mechanism. And it has overreached, the appellate body has overreached it because it has sort of act like judges, and they don't have the authority to act like judges. And of course, it was mentioned, this started with the Obama administration having problems with the particular panelists, and it didn't really start with President Trump's administration. But of course, the approach, I think, is more combative in this case.
Well, the Trump administration argues, Professor, that the WTO has treated the United States unfairly. Are those valid charges here? What is their issue exactly?
I believe that's not necessarily valid, but there are a lot of criticism that the United States has which other countries share. For example, appellate body members sometimes engage in dicta or talk about things that are not on point. By using public international law principles of interpretation, maybe they have expanded. When things are not very clear, they have tried to find a definition. The United States is upset because really a series of cases involving anti-dumping. There is a process that the United States Department of Commerce engages in, which is called zeroing. And the appellate body has found that to be inconsistent with WTO obligations. I think there's a real feeling in the United States that when the anti-dumping code was negotiated, that this was not the understanding. And so there are some cases that the United States has difficulty with, but we have one more cases than we have lost.
Right.
And there is no other place.
So moving forward, what does this mean for WTO and all these cases that are pretty much in limbo?
So the cases can still go to the panel level. The panels will continue to function. The problem is that under the DSU, there's a right to appeal to the appellate body. So technically, a country that loses can basically appeal to a body that doesn't exist and just not let the process, so it just goes into limbo. So one of the proposals is that the Europeans have made, and others, is to maybe create a binding arbitration instead of the appellate body. There are the other possibilities for countries to agree that they are not going to appeal. The other possibility is to go back, and I think this is like to go back to the GATT days when you couldn't basically adopt a decision until the losing party also agreed to it. So we are sort of moving back in time to the GATT days is the way I see it.
Professor, we're running out of time, but very quickly, what are your thoughts on how Trump has used tariffs as leverage with other countries like China? How should he have treated the disagreements, trade disagreements with countries like China? Could he have gone to the World Trade Organization? Probably not, because he doesn't have trust in the World Trade Organization.
Well, there are cases against each other in the WTO. The problem is that WTO cannot deal with structural problems. If you have a problem in the way the Chinese economy is organized or state-owned enterprises, in dispute settlement, you can't really address structural problems. Tariffs is a way for I guess, nobody, I think, no economists think that tariffs are a good thing at this point, because what ends up happening in a world of global value chains, we end up making things more expensive for our own. We have companies that are end up, steel. How many things are made of steel? I think they made whether it's your refrigerator or your microwave, everything is going to become more expensive. It has hurt our agricultural farmers who intended to go. I must say, the biggest problem that Trump administration, I think, engaged in was withdrawal from TPP, because that itself was about containing China. technically from the Obama administration's perspective. And by withdrawing from China, from that agreement, I do not think the tariffs will have the intended effect.
Right.
That is in.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there.
That is intended.
Professor Padideh Ala'I, thank you. Thank you so much.